Today, we're digging into a pretty fundamental battle for the future of the internet. We're looking at a new paper that argues a very specific kind of AI is on the verge of tearing down the digital walls that lock up all our data. And, if it's right, it could change, well, everything about how we use the web.
You know this feeling, right? It's that constant frustration. Your to-do list is in one app, your calendar's in another, your work projects are somewhere else, and none of them talk to each other. It feels broken, and it turns out that's not an accident. It's by design.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at these walled gardens that have us trapped. Then we'll introduce the AI-powered escape key that this paper proposes. We'll explore what this new kind of freedom could look like, but also consider freedom's high price, the risks. And finally, we'll dive into the roadmap for building a better internet.
All right, first things first, let's get a really clear picture of the problem. Why exactly is our online life so fragmented? The internet was born with this beautiful promise of openness. Its basic building blocks, things like HTTP, they're universal. Any machine can talk to any other machine. But the world we actually live in, the app layer, it's the total opposite. It's just a handful of massive, closed-off ecosystems that refuse to play nice. And that's what we mean by walled gardens.
So why do these walls even exist? Well, part of it is technical, for sure. Connecting different systems is complicated and it costs money. But the much bigger reason, the one that really matters, is strategic. These platforms want to build these silos. By making it hard for you to leave with your data, they lock you in. It kills competition and keeps them on top.
Okay, so this is where the plot takes a major turn. A new technology is coming that might just make these walls crumble. And that's the hero of our story, the LLM-based agent. So what exactly is an LLM agent? It's not just a chatbot that you talk to. Think of it more like an AI system that gets a goal from you, understands it using a large language model, and then, this is the key part, it can autonomously go out and use tools like web browsers or APIs to actually get the job done. So these agents have a couple of superpowers. The first one is that they can act like a universal translator for APIs. You know all that expensive, custom engineering work it takes to get two systems to talk? An LLM agent can look at both sides and figure out how to translate between them, basically on its own. It drives the cost of integration way, way down. But here's the second superpower, and honestly, this one might be the real game changer. What if the service doesn't have an API? What if the walls are solid? It doesn't matter. The agent can just open up the website and use it like a person would, clicking buttons, filling out forms, copying and pasting text. It doesn't need an invitation. And this leads to a pretty mind-blowing conclusion from the paper. They argue that basically any interaction a human can perform in a computer can, eventually, be replicated by one of these agents. And if that's true, then just refusing to build an API, well, that's not a strategy anymore. The walls just stop working. Interoperability becomes, as they put it, effectively unavoidable. So what does this new world actually look like, where everything can talk to everything else? The researchers give it a name: universal interoperability. And this is really the core concept. It's this idea that AI can serve as a go-between, a little adapter, connecting any two services you want. It doesn't matter if they were designed to work together. The AI just figures it out and builds the bridge right then and there.
The benefits here would be massive. Connecting systems becomes almost effortless. That whole lock-in problem starts to fade, because if you can easily move your data, platforms have to compete on being the best service, not just the one that's trapped you. And maybe the coolest part? This puts the power in everyone's hands, not just developers. You could create your own automations without writing a single line of code.
Well, you knew there was a catch, right? This much power doesn't come for free. Unleashing armies of autonomous AI agents to just go and connect everything, well, it comes with some really serious, potentially dangerous downsides.
The paper points to 4 huge risks we have to think about. First, security. An agent could easily be tricked by a bad actor into giving away your passwords. Second, the legal side is a mess. This stuff often violates a site's terms of service. Third, they can just be unreliable. An agent might break when a website redesigns its homepage or even hallucinate and make things up. And maybe the scariest one,
We could just trade the old monopolies for a new one, where everyone is locked into a single company's agent platform. And this isn't just theory. Get this, a real-world spam bot called AccuraBot, powered by AI, has already used these very techniques to spam over 80,000 websites, even getting past those "I'm not a robot" checks. So yeah, the risks are not just possible, they're already here.
So this brings us to what I think is the most important part of the paper, the conclusion. We have this huge potential and these really serious risks. So what do we do? How do we actually move forward?
And it all comes down to this one question. Is this idea of a truly open, connected internet worth all the risks? The security holes, the legal fights, the potential for new monopolies?
The authors come down with a really strong answer. Yes, it's absolutely worth it. The chance to give freedom back to users and spark real competition is just too important to pass up. But, and this is a huge but, we can't just sit back and let it happen. We have to be smart and we have to build it the right way.
And they propose a roadmap for doing just that. It's a framework built on 3 foundational pillars. Let's walk through each one, because this is the plan for getting it right. Okay, pillar number 1 is all about building agent-friendly interfaces. Instead of having the AI guess what every button on a web page does, websites could include a simple, hidden file. Kind of like robots.txt for search engines, but maybe called LLMs.txt. And this file would just give the agent clear instructions. The goal isn't to rebuild the web, but just to add little signposts to help the agents and stop them from making mistakes. Pillar 2 is security by design. Look, you wouldn't give a new employee the keys to everything on day 1, right? The same logic applies here. We need standard permission systems for agents. We need to test them in safe sandbox environments before they can touch our real data. And we need to be watching them constantly. The whole idea is to build strong guardrails from the very beginning. And finally, pillar number 3 is about the ecosystem itself. Because if one big company controls the main agent protocol, we haven't torn down the walled gardens. We've just built a new, bigger one. The only way to prevent that is to build this whole thing on open standards, where everyone, not just one company, has a say. The goal is to make absolutely sure this new layer of the internet stays truly open for everyone. And so that leaves us at a crossroads with this one final, critical question. Will these new AI agents finally break down the walls we've lived with for so long? Or will they just end up building new ones that are even harder to see? According to this paper, that choice is still ours to make. To keep exploring the ideas that are shaping our future, make sure you subscribe to VibeDoc. Thanks for tuning in.